Hey everyone, my name is Wes, and welcome back to another episode of Terror Talk where I discuss creepy clips online. I created this original horror music to add to the video, and I hope you enjoy it. Be sure to leave your own comments, and when you're done watching, check the description if you'd like to listen to my music without the commentary. Now let's get into it and have some fun.
I once met this dude named Matt when I was out with friends at a bar one summer. I was out with a big group, and Matt and I made friends at the bar, vibing over the Cubs game that was on. My group kind of dispersed away from me as I spoke with Matt, so it wasn't like Matt really spoke to any of my friends. We ended up exchanging Instagrams, and he had a decent amount of followers on Instagram, and his pictures made him seem like a normal 20 something year old dude who likes to go out, travel, and stay active. After we exchanged info, I went to go find my group. Honestly, whenever you bro out with another guy while you're at a bar, the odds of ever actually contacting each other again after exchanging info are slim to none. You always act like you'll hit them up, but come the next day when you're sober, you just have no interest. Well, the next day, which was a Saturday, I went out to another bar slash restaurant with my friends. This was an outdoor spot on the water. It was for my friend Tyler's birthday. I put something on my Instagram story as we all sang at the bar for him. After about an hour, we were done with dinner and just hanging around the outside section of the bar. And I got a tap on my shoulder. I turned around and it was Matt. He dabbed me up with a smile and said this was his favorite Saturday night spot.
So, don't you think that's just a little weird that he shows up at this bar? Let me know in the comments below if you think he's stalking him or something, because that's pretty odd to me. And I really liked his comment about how if you get some guy's number at a bar and you're another guy, like there's just no interest in it the next day. Like I'm not really a bar goer at all, but I can totally see where he's coming from, because if I got some dude's number at a bar one night and I've been drinking, which I hardly ever do, it's just not really my thing. I've never really liked it that much. And like I completely understand where that guy's coming from. Like the next day comes around and it's just like, what's the point of even texting this guy? Like, it almost feels a little gay in a way to get a guy's number at a bar. And not saying there's anything wrong with being gay, like I'm not gay or anything like that, but it just feels a little gay to get a guy's number at a bar. So I completely understand like there's no intrigue whatsoever about texting the guy the next day, but it's really odd that he would show up at at this bar the next time that they go out, isn't it? Like that just kind of screams stalker vibes, doesn't it? Let me know in the comments if you agree with that or not.
I introduced Matt more officially to my friends this time, saying, "You guys remember Matt?" Even if they hadn't really spoken to him, they did see him the night before. Well, as the night went on, Matt kind of hung around for a while, and it was fine because everyone was drunk, including him, and everyone was just having a good time. The next time I saw Matt was when he invited me golfing on a hot day. Honestly, I suck at golfing, but it's something I want to get better at. So when he invited me early one Sunday morning, I went. I think it was literally the following weekend after I saw him last. It was just him and I going. I tried to get a couple of my friends to go, but they were too hungover and said it was too early. Matt and I just vibed playing golf. I think it was only 9 holes. It took us like 2 hours. Afterwards, we got food, and then I went home to relax before work the next day. I saw Matt one more time out after that, before he invited me on a hiking trip with him to Arizona. Honestly, Arizona and the Grand Canyon were always on my bucket list. I just checked the dates with work and confirmed I was able to go first, and I was an immediate yes. I asked Tyler and a couple of other friends to come with, but they were heavy no's. They said they couldn't get the time off work and needed to save money, the typical responses from any of my friends when I try to get them on a trip. I asked Matt if any of his boys were going, and he said nah, he was going solo dolo. I actually hadn't met any of Matt's friends yet. His Instagram painted him as this super popular guy, though, so I didn't find it weird. We flew out on August 15th, and our return flights to Chicago were August 18th. We landed at night. Matt rented a car for the weekends, and on the way to the Airbnb, we stopped for food and alcohol. By the time we got to the Airbnb, it was late. We had a couple of beers when we got there, and I could tell that Matt was down to stay up longer, but I was admittedly shot and wanted to go to sleep. This was when I realized there was only one bed in the Airbnb. I had never asked him to confirm that there were two bedrooms. When I brought it up, he pointed to the couch I was sitting on and said it's a pull out couch. He then said relax and that he's not going to charge me for the Airbnb. Honestly, a free stay in Arizona, I couldn't complain about the couch.
So, what do you think of this friendship so far? Do you think it's a little weird or do you think it's normal? Because from my experience, I have rarely ever had friendships work out that I meet in completely random places. And I'm going to tell you a really weird, really bizarre, kind of creepy story right now. So, when I was living in LA studying film music, and I did live in LA for 2.5 years, it was a lot of fun. But I had befriended this Uber driver, and he seemed really kind of cool and nice at first. And, but looking back on it now, you know, there were certain comments that he had made to me, like, "Oh, you can survive getting stabbed" or something like that. Some weird stuff that I kind of just like overlooked and continued to be his friend anyways. But I kid you not, he drove me back to my place one day and he asked me to use the bathroom. And it's really odd because instead of coming into my studio apartment, it was like a little studio apartment, kind of like in a gated area kind of thing with like a nice grassy backyard area kind of situation. Instead of coming in and using the bathroom, he literally pulled out his wanker and started pissing on the wall. I am not even kidding you. That actually happened. And I was so weirded out by that. It's just like, what the hell, dude? Like, come in and use the bathroom like I said you could. Instead, he literally just pulled out his wanker and started pissing on the wall. And I was like, what the hell? Like, wouldn't that creep you out? So, this situation in this story, like, not entirely related, but sort of kind of related. Like, it was very, very odd to me that he did that. Like, let me know in the comments if someone did that to you, would you keep being their friend? Let me know in the comments below if they had, pissed on your wall instead of just like coming into the house. Because that is very odd behavior in my opinion. But yeah, I just wanted to share that story because it kind of brought back this memory for me.
I pulled out the sofa bed, set up the sheets, and went to sleep. It was surprisingly comfortable. In the middle of the night, I woke up to Matt walking through the living room to the kitchen to get water. I'm a light sleeper. The sound of a pin drop will make me wake up. I rolled over and went back to sleep. The next morning, Matt woke me up early. It was a sunny, gorgeous day, and we drove straight to the Grand Canyon. I had no idea just how massive it truly was, or how many individual trail options there were. We hiked the Bright Angel, I think. I didn't realize how out of shape I was until that day. Matt was perfectly fine, laughing and telling me to keep up while I was dripping in sweat and out of breath. We took numerous breaks, which we used to take a million amazing pictures. It was beautiful. Eventually, we got back to the car. We had been hiking for over 2 to 3 hours, and I needed food. We stopped by a deli on the way back. It was a long drive back to Phoenix, and when we got there, we took a midday nap. And then after that, we explored around Phoenix. And of course, in Matt fashion, we drank at multiple bars. I barely knew the guy, but I could already see he liked his alcohol. Fast forward, we got really, really drunk. But I think I got drunker, and I'm not sure how, because Matt was downing as many drinks as me. We had to leave the rental on the street and Uber back to the Airbnb. It was late. Time flew by somehow. I don't remember much besides Matt blasting music in the Airbnb for a bit and my plugging my phone in next to the couch. I guess I just went to sleep after that. That night, I woke up randomly, probably a couple of hours after I fell asleep. My bladder was about to explode, and my mouth was drier than the Grand Canyon. I got off the couch and headed toward the bathroom, but I heard something, a crack in the floor, like a crack from pressure. I scanned around the dark room with my eyes and saw nothing, so I went to the bathroom. While I was in there, midstream, I heard a door clicking shut. It had to be Matt's bedroom door. When I finished peeing, I went to try Matt's door, but it was locked. I knocked on the door, but there was no answer. Whatever. I went back to the couch and fell back asleep pretty easily. The next morning, I woke up at like 8 a.m., head throbbing. The first thing I noticed was my phone. It was in a weird position. I had it charging last night and left it laying on the floor next to the couch bed, but now it was sitting on the table next to the couch and it was unplugged. I was questioning why I might have done this, but ultimately my answer was simple. I was just super drunk. That day, we obviously didn't do any hiking, otherwise, I would have puked. We just Ubered to the car, then did some driving around, exploring different neighborhoods, scenery, and checking out the botanical gardens. I didn't really want to drink that day, but later on, Matt convinced me. And wouldn't you know it, it was another night of getting really, really drunk. Our flight was at like 1 p.m. the following day, so at least we didn't have to worry about getting up really early. We got back to the Airbnb late again. I'd say between 1 and 2 a.m. this time. Matt insisted on letting me sleep in the bed that night, just because it was fair. Honestly, I didn't argue. I eventually took my bag to his room and then said goodnight and shut the door. I didn't lock it. Not that it mattered, because the locks, from what I remembered, had those doorknobs with locks that you could easily unlock with like a butter knife or something. I wish I could say the story ended there and that we went home in peace the next day. Well, I woke up that night, probably not long after I fell asleep. I didn't know what woke me up at first. It's like waking up to a sound, but you didn't fully consciously hear that sound because you were still technically asleep when it caused you to wake up. I looked around the room, and then for my phone. My phone was missing. I had it plugged in next to the bed and had the phone on the bed next to me. But now the cord was just dangling from the outlet to the ground with no phone. How could this happen again? I looked on one side of the bed on the floor, and then the other, and I jumped up and screamed at the top of my lungs when I saw Matt laying face down, sprawled out on that side of the bed on the floor. He looked up, looking like he'd just woken up from a deep sleep.
That would be scary as shit, wouldn't it? I mean, you don't know this guy really well, and you're already traveling with him, traveling across the country with him or whatever, and you find him sprawled out on the floor like that. Oh my god, that would be so scary. How would you react in that situation? Because, whew, man, I don't even know.
I shouted, "What are you doing?" He looked around the room, acting confused, like he didn't know how he got there. He stood up and said that he must have been so blacked out that he just walked in here to go to bed, but then remembered I was in the bed and he crashed on the floor. But that didn't make sense because he was on the side of the bed further from the door. I then accused him of taking my phone, and he played dumb. He said I should check under the bed, maybe it fell. Then he got on his knees, looked under the bed, and instantly said, "Bro, here it is." And he pulled it out from under the bed. I looked at him, and I genuinely felt like I was staring at a different person now. Who was this guy? Did he really try getting into my phone twice? I told him I'll just go back to the couch, but he insisted he would, and then he left the room. You bet your ass I locked the door this time. If it weren't for the phone, sure, I just see it as he was really drunk and did something goofy, like come pass out on the floor. But I was detecting bullshit there. He took my phone, and I know it. Since I was still kind of drunk, I didn't really have much trouble falling back asleep. Once again, I wish it ended there, but it didn't. I woke up one more time that night, and this time, I quickly realized why. At the foot of my bed was Matt standing there, but all I could really see was his silhouette. For some reason, I didn't jump or scream this time. He sat down on the bed and started rubbing my foot, and that's when I screamed at him to get out. He wouldn't move, so I had to physically push him off the bed and out the bedroom door. I started packing my clothes into my bag, then quickly packed all my toiletries and whatever else I packed. He didn't say a word. He sat upright on the couch watching me like a creepy NPC the entire time. It was the most unsettling part. I called an Uber to the airport. I wasn't staying there another minute. He didn't try to stop me. I got to the airport just as the sun was starting to rise, and as hard as I tried to sleep, I couldn't. My mind was just racing. I waited there the entire time for the flight. I paid like $35 to change my seat so I wouldn't be next to Matt. I looked out the window the entire time the plane was boarding so I wouldn't have to make eye contact with him. I didn't tell any of my friends until later that day. I just needed time to process and digest everything. A couple of my friends said, "See, I told you he was weird," and pointed out that both times we ran into him, he was alone. It got me also thinking that the only reason he ran into me at the outdoor bar was because he saw my Instagram story and probably came there. Actual stalker behavior. I blocked his number and Instagram, but before doing so, I went to one of his older Instagram posts where he was with friends. No one was tagged in the picture, but I looked at the comments. There was one comment from a guy who looked like he was in the picture. I saw that Matt wasn't even following him or vice versa. I took it upon myself to DM the guy, asking if he was still friends with Matt. The guy responded back within 10 minutes saying this: "Nah, guy's a freak, run away." From there, he told me about his own experience along with the other guys who used to be friends with him, who all had to cut him off. The guy untagged himself for Matt's photo, but he said he can't forcibly get him to take down the picture. He wasn't surprised at all when I told him what had happened in Arizona. The guy's response was, "Guy should be in jail." It's crazy that I thought Matt was just a normal dude who was looking for a bro, but he ended up being a potentially dangerous predator. I still just want to know what he was trying to access on my phone.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the crazier stories on Mr. Nightmare's channel, isn't it? And yeah, I think personally that he was trying to access as much personal information on his phone as possible, because what other reason could there be for that kind of behavior? And the part where he was actually like rubbing his foot came in a second time to rub his foot like that. Oh man, that is just really, really creepy, and I would have done the exact same thing. I would have gotten the hell out of there super fast after that, because it's also really weird that he didn't even try to stop him from leaving. So definitely a really weird, creepy individual, huh? But yeah, I genuinely enjoyed this story, and I hope you enjoyed my commentary and the music, and I will see you in the next video.